Mounds of sand shoveled into bag after bag. Homeowners got help from community volunteers filling sandbags in Holland today.
Just trying to see what we can do at this point.
Trisha Lutz and her husband are some of the homeowners trying to prevent rising water from getting into their homes.
It's threatening to come in the sliding doors at this point. So trying to hopefully put up a barrier of some sort and keep it out of the doors.
In nearly 15 years, they've never had to do this.
We're not in a floodplain. So to be doing this up on, where we are, it's crazy. You don't think about having to do it.
And they're not the only ones filling sandbags today. Messages coming in as beeps to the National Weather Service in La Crosse may be warnings for high water levels. Meteorologists like Dan Baumgart have been monitoring floods over the past few days.
We're running off a lot of water because we're melting the snowpack, and the snow has somewhere between 2 and 4 inches of liquid in it.
Baumgart says if you drew a line from La Crosse to Sheboygan, you'd see the divide on where flooding is the worst.
Most of the flooding is occurring south of that line, and it really drops off in the northern part of the state.
The good news for the southern part of the state is a cold front coming in tonight could slow this flooding, and maybe even better news for next week.
Next week, we look like we're in an ideal thaw situation where temperatures are going to get to about 40 degrees in the daytime and cool down to the 20s at night.
So normally where I'm standing is a field, but today, because of snow runoff and rain, it looks more like a pond. And homeowners that live in this area tell me they've never seen this water get that close to their house.
It's never gotten this high. Yeah, no, this is the first. It's gotten high, but nothing like this.
So sandbags it is, for the Lutzes to keep water out. Something the La Crosse County Emergency Manager says dozens of people haven't been able to do this week. And for parts of the state that haven't seen runoff floods yet this year,
try to get ahead of it, I guess, if you can.
And hope the next thaw comes slower. In Holland, Jeff Dada, Spectrum News 1. Hopes are high at Miller Park on opening day.
A lot of World Series hungry fans.
To gauge fan expectations, I brought this calendar and asked fans to poke on the day of the start of the playoff series they thought the team was going to.
World Series.
Be careful if you weren't one of the ones picking a deep run.
First wild card.
Get out of here! Then there's fan of 20-some-odd years, Vern.
Everybody has a prediction.
Vern helped me out wrangling fans and asking for their predictions.
Excuse me. Would you be interested in taking one of these pens and putting it on this calendar here on the other side and then put it on the last date that you think the Brewers will be playing?
Oh, yes, I will do that.
So as fan picked sometimes arbitrary days,
I'm going to the 31st.
Vern could question it.
31st. Halloween.
Choosing the Brewers to win the World Series was pretty common.
Well, it's going to be a pretty common pick because it's going to happen.
How confident are you?
On a scale of 1 to 10, 32.
Confidence filled the board.
I don't know who you think I am, but we're going right there.
Right here being, you guessed it, the World Series. So what do you think? Has this been surprising you?
Not really.
Not really?
Milwaukee, come on. Everybody's hungry.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Just did it.
Oh, must have changed hats.
That guy picked the Brewers to win it all too. So did Vern, for that matter.
Just by what they did last year and their acquisitions this year, I think they can do it.
And as Vern and I both found out, people agreed with him.
Oh, yeah, I'm going World Series.
You're pretty confident?
I'm very confident.
Not quite everyone, though.
In the World Series, they think. I don't.
But our little non-scientific experiment showed 34 of 48 fans think the Brewers will win it all.
Take your time here. It's going to be a test after this.
Strategy.
All right.
At Miller Park, Jeff Dada.
Definitely World Series.
Okay.
Spectrum News.
Let me move this stuff.
Jonah Guluciano has a sweet setup. He calls it his man cave, or you could call it a workshop.
We worked on it for practically forever. It's this thing.
This thing is a Star Wars Republic gunship, or as Jonah calls it,
That's kind of my pride and joy.
Jonah's happy about his Lego collection. He's happier in general the past 3 years, because when he was 10, he learned something about himself.
We always knew I had been different, but we had never quite been able to put our finger on it or get the correct treatment.
3 years ago, Jonah was diagnosed with autism. He was in a range once considered Asperger's.
What is this?
It was tough to figure out.
Okay, I'm pretty sure this doesn't have anything to do with butts. And also, I like burgers. Does this have anything to do with burgers?
As he started to figure it out,
But then I was like, no, that can't be right. We're at a medical appointment.
the news was tough to take.
Honestly, that was probably one of the hardest moments of my life.
But now, 3 years wiser, he says it's a good thing.
Looking back on it, it has done nothing but changed everything for the better.
His mom, Rebecca Minsley, agrees.
As a parent, it can be scary because all parents worry about their child's future, but it has ultimately led to Jonah getting support and services that he needs.
While autism can be misunderstood, it's actually what makes Jonah awesome.
People with autism bring so much to our lives.
And the whole experience has made Jonah an advocate.
Next, we're going to hear from Jonah Golciano.
On Wednesday at a press conference at the Capitol, flanked by the governor of Wisconsin and autism advocates, Jonah didn't even need to see over the microphones to share his dream.
I wish for a day when anybody on the autism spectrum can say, I am autistic, without fear of ridicule or misunderstanding. Until that day, my rallying cry is, understand autism.
We're super proud of him. I mean, as a parent, it's everything you hope your kid will achieve.
It's got an opening back hatch.
Later in the day, Jonah brings me into his workspace. While now it's Legos, soon Jonah will build his next advocacy project.
It hurts me to know that there are other people like me who are walking around in life who always feel like there's a part of them that isn't understood and that there's something wrong with them and will never be able to get the help that they need. And I want to change that.
And at just 13, Jonah's building a foundation for change. In Madison, Jeff Dada, Spectrum News.
The corners are high.
Benjamin Grant says he's an educator by nature.
I have highest admiration for good teachers out there, and I aspire to be one myself.
Today he's teaching his business partners how to take care of hemp clones they're growing.
So that's a good thing too.
The plant and soil scientist and California cannabis consultant is now teaching classes to Wisconsin farmers on how to grow hemp. He says his work in cannabis translates well to hemp.
I see a region here and a group of farmers that need the information, and I know how hard I had to work to get the information. So I'm very happy to do it.
His draw to teaching has found a home in a classroom setting. Maybe a familiar one. His company, Standfast Farms, has partnered with Mondola Farms near Melrose to host classes at a former middle school. This time last year, Melrose Middle School had students in it.
These are our cherry wine feminized plants.
Now, it doesn't. Nate Tondola and Mondola Farms bought the school when it came out for auction with the intention to grow hemp in it. This past weekend, about 20 farmers paid the $250 class fee to take a course here.
It kind of helps having these plants here when we're doing our learning seminars because it gives the people something to look at, a hands-on experience with it.
For a lot of the farmers here this weekend, these plants were the first chance that they had to see hemp in person.
The reaction when people walk in here is pretty great. Their eyes kind of light up and they're like, oh my gosh, because it looks just like marijuana, but it's not. It's just hemp, and it's not going to get you high, and it's going to actually make people feel better.
Mondola Farms grows hemp mostly for CBD, a product used as a medical supplement. They grew last year, though more than 1,200 people in Wisconsin this year are first-time growers. A handful plan on coming here to learn.
I think this is a wonderful opportunity for people getting into hemp.
I went over some plant training.
To learn from Franklin. The first class focused on things like planting, sorting seeds, and cloning. The next class will take on issues as they come up in the growing season.
We're going to take it one step at a time because I can easily overload an audience with information on this crop.
So Franklin suggests being ready to take notes. In Melrose, Jeff Dada, Spectrum News.